Welcome to the live show. Yes, we are back for another episode. This is going to be spicy, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be spicy. It's gonna be spicy, ladies and gentlemen. All right, you know what time it is. It is your boy Genesis. Welcome to the live stream. It is currently 4:41 p.m. and of course, today's date is the 5th of June 2025. How are you doing, beautiful people? How are you doing, America? Welcome to the live show. All right. We're going to have some fun today. Unfortunately, Elon Musk is going against the commander in chief, the OG, the 45th, now the 47th president of the United States. I don't know why he's doing it. I guess he's saying that Trump is driving the United States into death. You know what I mean? Like debt, incredible amount of debt. And he's saying this is an abomination. But, but, but finally, Trump Trump has replied, Elon Musk, saying that Elon is only mad because of the EV tax credit that is taken away, and also doesn't mind Elon going against him, but he's saying now that Trump derangement syndrome may have gotten Elon Musk. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start with CNN. Here we go.
It has been interesting to watch Elon Musk go scorched earth on this bill. He went from saying, I think this is a bad idea, to saying, call your representatives, get rid of it. And there are a lot of theories about why this is, one of which is the simplest, that he's right, that it does increase the deficit, that it is a lot of government spending that is not paid for. So what are Republicans going to do? And is it going to matter after this man spent, almost $250 million on Republican campaigns?
Well, Elon Musk is a brilliant man, and he doesn't make rockets or Teslas by compromising. And it just might be that his intellect is ill-suited to passing legislation. And so I don't know that he is the right person to give Mike Johnson or John Thune advice about how to pass this bill to stop a tax increase. And that's really what it is. And I'm confident that as we get toward the finish line, Elon Musk will be on board because the bill is to stop the Democrats' tax increase. That's its whole purpose. If we don't pass it, everyone's taxes go up.
That's so interesting because for the last 6 months, the answer to every question in the federal government was Elon Musk.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden he's not qualified to talk about spending.
I didn't say it wasn't qualified. I said his intellect might not be suited to legislative strategy.
Okay. Go ahead, Reese.
Well, I think that he is clearly trying to rehabilitate his image by trying to create some fake distance between him and Donald Trump. Of course, he's against the deficit decreasing, but I don't give him credit for being against this bill because he does not have a problem with the tax cuts for himself, and he doesn't have a problem with millions of people losing their Medicaid coverage. He railed against Medicaid and other entitlements, and so I don't think he deserves credit. I think this is what a lot of people do when they fake leave the Trump orbit, is they try to act like they aren't on board with things. But we are not going to forget that he has been the single most chaotic and cruelty causing agent in this administration.
I think the reality here is that he's realizing the con of Donald Trump that so many people already know, which is Donald Trump claims to be a good fiscal steward, but when he was president first time, no president in modern history added more to the debt than he did. Now, I know what Scott will say. That's COVID. But if you take away COVID, he added $4 trillion to the deficit before COVID even came about. And now he's proposing another $2.4 trillion while 11 million people lose their insurance. This is the con of Donald Trump, claiming that he's a fiscal steward, claiming Republicans are the fiscal stewards, when in reality it is Democrats who have been making the investments time and time again on behalf of the American people.
Scott, do you have anything to say for yourself? I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I love them both, and I don't like it when mom and dad are fighting. But having spoken to him recently, I know he has a deeply held view that the debt that we have in this country, Elon, I mean, is a problem that must be dealt with urgently. And he does have some disappointment that Republicans don't share his zeal for the urgency of the issue. However, this is not a spending bill. This is a reconciliation bill, and it has three main points: making the tax cuts permanent, massive investments in border security. It fully funds the border wall, and the biggest and most necessary welfare reform in at least a generation. Those three things happen to be what Donald Trump ran on for president and won the national popular vote and a not particularly close win in the Electoral College. So this is the president's agenda. And I actually think Elon's goals regarding reduction of debt and the president's goals regarding passing what he ran on are not irreconcilable. They're just all not going to happen in the same
Elon's
bill.
goals the same goals that Republicans said that they also shared for 2-3 decades
Yes,
in this country?
Republicans do want.
So basically, it's out the window now. Is that what you're saying?
No, but
they don't care
this legislation,
whether their children or your children are saddled with that. I mean, I'm just saying that's the talking point.
But this legislation is not a spending bill. It's not an
dead.
appropriations bill, and it is not a budget bill. It is a reconciliation bill. There are other vehicles to achieve those goals.
But I hear what you're saying, but you also just acknowledge that there is spending in there. First of all, extending the tax cuts will cost money. Second of all, even the
taxes
budget,
and spending are two
even
different
the
things.
hold on,
They're not
even
tax cuts. It's keeping the rates the same.
Okay,
It's not a tax
all right.
cut.
It costs money. Okay,
It doesn't
the rates
cost
the
money.
same?
The money belongs
yes, it
to
does.
the people.
I mean, look.
So you want Republicans to
then-
raise taxes?
And well, look,
We did not run on that.
hold on, guys. He's extending the tax cuts.
Tax rates.
He's also creating new tax cuts that cost money. Okay, I mean, this is not voodoo, okay? It's just a balance sheet. You either pay for it or you don't. And historically, Republicans have said, if you're going to spend, pay for it. It's just that now, I guess that doesn't matter.
Listen, can I tell you this? This whole thing is weird. It's been weird from the beginning, okay? Because Elon Musk has been ill-suited to be at the right hand of the father since the very start. I'm finding it incredibly amusing to see, a bunch of Republicans, elected Republicans, who for the last 5 months have been sucking up to Elon Musk and to Donald Trump, have to pick between mom and dad. Look, it's giving me whiplash, because it wasn't but last week that they were still in the White House and tweeting love letters to each other and thank you notes and all of this stuff. And it's just, what I think you have are two guys with a lot of power. One has a lot more money than the other, and the other one is president. This is a fight between Godzilla and King Kong. And it is, if it weren't so incredibly serious and, the subject matter wasn't affecting us all, it would be incredibly amusing, and I would ask for a big vat of popcorn.
Oh my goodness. A lot is going on right now.
There is breaking news just now in the trial ongoing of Sean.
What is going on with Elon Musk? Some people are saying, has TDS gotten to Elon Musk? Does Elon Musk now have Trump derangement syndrome? Is that what is going on now? A lot of people are talking, and Tesla stock is taking the heat. Telling y'all. Here we go.
We've been watching President Trump in the Oval Office with the German Chancellor, and a lot to get to here. But the most interesting and perhaps important issue, political issue and policy issue, is what President Trump said about his now former friend, at least it seems, Elon Musk. And I want to go to Elena Treen at the White House. Elena, it seems as though we saw kind of the unraveling of a bromance real time. And what our viewers saw was what it turned out to be one side of a fight. The other side was Elon Musk real time using his platform X to respond and kind of push back on many of the things that President Trump said. We're going to show our viewers what happened, but I want you to kind of give a sense of what brought us to this extraordinary moment just a few days after he gave a big glowing goodbye to Elon Musk from the White House.
Yeah, it's not even a week, Dana, since we saw them both praise each other from the Oval Office days later now. And actually the first time reporters are actually having the opportunity to ask the president about this. Since that moment, we're now seeing this completely fraying relationship on full display. It's very remarkable given just how close I know, my colleagues here at the White House, and I know that the president and Musk have been for months now, really him being one of the president's favorite people on this White House complex. I want to give you a sense just of some of the key things I took away from the president's comments. Overall, though, I would note as well that his tone was strikingly somber when discussing this, and really you could see that it saddened him almost. You could see kind of the emotion in his tone and on his face as he was discussing this. He said, quote, "I've always liked Elon." He said I was very surprised. He said he would have rather had him criticize him directly rather than the spending bill that the president has been working tirelessly with his team to try and muscle through Congress. He said, and this to me was maybe the most notable quote from the president, he said, "Look, Elon and I had being a very key word here, had a great relationship. I don't know if we will anymore." He said he was very disappointed in Musk. He went on to add that Musk knew about the, quote, inner workings of the bill very intimately, and claimed that he only started to take issue with it and had a problem with it once he left the administration, but also once he learned of the breadth of the electric vehicle mandate, really the credits that are being revoked in this bill that, of course, could and will impact Tesla. We also did see, as you mentioned, Dana, Musk respond to this just moments ago on X. He had really been posting throughout the entire time the president was speaking, but then he did post, made this one post linking to a video of the president making these comments about him, and said, "Keep the EV mandates in the bill, but get rid of the pork and the rest of it." He said you could have an ugly big bill or a slim and beautiful bill. So clearly showing, actually at the top of that post, he said, quote, "whatever," really showing, where he stands on this. All to say, I mean, if you just look at months ago, particularly leading up to him being in the White House and then ever since, the president, would parade Musk around Mar-a-Lago and his different properties with him, always had him by his side at the dinner table, has continued to allow him to walk into the Oval, unannounced whenever he wanted. This is very far from that, and it's very unclear now where this relationship is going to go.
Well, I think we're watching where it's going, and it's going pretty downhill pretty fast. Elena, thank you so much. I am joined here by some really terrific reporters, CNN's Kristen Holmes, Josh Dawsey of the Wall Street Journal, Zolan Kano-Youngs of the New York Times, and CNN's Kylie Atwood. Let's just start by recapping one of the comments that President Trump made about Elon Musk.
You saw a man who was very happy when he stood behind the Oval desk, and even with the black eye, I said, "Do you want a little makeup? We'll get you a little makeup." But he said, "No, I don't think so," which is interesting and very nice. He wants to be who he is, so you could make that statement too, I guess. Look, Elon and I had a great relationship. I don't know if we will anymore. I was surprised because you were here. Everybody in this room practically was here as we had a wonderful send-off. He said wonderful things about me. You couldn't have nicer. Said the best things. He's worn the hat. Trump was right about everything. And I am right about the great, big, beautiful bill.
And that's what this is all about right now. And I just want to make that clear to our viewers. I'm sure you understand that this relationship basically exploded yesterday when Elon Musk started really aggressively putting on his social media platform that this bill that he is desperate to get through the Senate after it passed the House is bad. He wrote, "Kill the bill," and many other things. And so you just saw the president say what we just heard. He said, "People leave my administration, they love us, and then at some point they miss it so badly. Some of them embrace it, some of them become hostile. Trump derangement syndrome."
So this is really fascinating because as of yesterday at the exact same time, maybe a few hours later into the afternoon, I spoke to a number of Trump's top advisors who still were unsure of how he was going to respond to Elon Musk. There were still a lot of questions. He was raising questions with them as to, do you think this is just a business decision? Do you think he's lashing out at this because of these electric vehicle mandates? It's probably something he has to do now that he's leaving the government, and it's all about the business. Obviously, Donald Trump likes to make things about money and business, kind of his way of saying, saying, okay, maybe that's what he's doing here. He was angry when that first tweet came out 2 days ago during the briefing, but then he also had a lot of questions as to where this was coming from, because he did believe that Elon knew about the EV mandate. His team does believe that this is all about business, all about the EV mandate, that this is all about these credits that Elon Musk believes are unfair, which he actually
and
just
it's not
tweeted,
just that it's big and full of pork.
Right, it's not pork, it's not what he's saying there. But I think the most telling thing about this is that clearly we've hit a new marker since then, which is we had a great relationship. I don't know if we will anymore. And I can tell you that members of Trump's team have reached out to Elon Musk. No response. Donald Trump and Elon Musk have not spoken.
Yeah, and this was bubbling, though, for several months. I mean, Trump had said publicly, repeatedly, that he and Elon are close and vice versa, but there's been lots of frustrations that have happened between the two men over political endorsements, over Elon trying to get a briefing of the Department of Defense, over China, over some of the other staff fights inside the White House. And Trump's team was ready to see Elon go. There's no doubt about it. Trump himself wanted to have an event on Friday and try to have an amicable breakup here, in part because Elon is such a wealthy donor. He is the richest man in the world. He fueled hundreds of millions of dollars for this campaign. He is a political force to a large degree. He controls one of the main ways that Republicans communicate. I mean, this, unlike some of the relationships Trump has had, a breakup here could hurt him too. I mean, there really is a lot of caution here that I think his people are trying to navigate. Okay, where are we going from here? Because we're playing with live, live rounds.
This is what you were referring to. You see on the screen, this is a video of the two of them in the Oval Office, which, by the way, I don't want to let it go unmentioned that the president made fun of the black eye that Elon Musk had. I mean, that was very clear that he wanted to get that in there. But when it comes to the substance of what we're talking about here, I also want to underscore that they are kind of saying the quiet part out loud with regard to Elon Musk's business interests. And the fact that there was even a question inside the White House, maybe by the president himself, because he just said it in the Oval Office, that Elon Musk doesn't like this bill because it's not good for his business. The EV mandate, electric vehicle mandate, goes away. I mean, they're not even pretending that there's no conflict of interest here. And that was one of the things that Musk responded to on X real time. He said, false, this bill was never shown. Well, first he said, that's not about that. And then he said, false, this bill was never shown to me even once and was passed in the dead of night so fast that almost no one in Congress could even read it. That was in response to Trump saying he was disappointed with Musk because he knew the inner workings of this bill better than anyone sitting here.
You had the president in the Oval Office essentially say that Elon Musk's criticism is a matter of personal grievance. It's a matter of the fact that he thinks that this will hurt his business. Elon, up until this point, when he has shared criticism for this bill, has said that it's about undermining really the effort he took to cut federal bureaucracy, reduce the deficit as well. And he said that it's about sort of fiscal responsibility. Here you have the president completely saying that that is not true and that it's really actually about somebody trying to protect his business, which is interesting also because Elon was with the administration when the Trump administration was rolling back EV subsidies that the Biden administration put forward as well. So that's another detail I had here. But it's remarkable to see here just the shift in the past couple days. I asked the president last Friday about reports of Elon Musk's drug use as well. And he went out of his way to say that that is not a concern, that is not troubling to him, that he still stands by Elon Musk. All of that now to this point where now you have criticism against a signature part of Trump's domestic agenda. And now he's saying, well, this is someone who's just worried about their business, essentially.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Left the government.
ladies and gentlemen, Tesla has taken a hit. People are selling off their Tesla stocks. I'm telling y'all, this is bad for Elon Musk. He should have taken a small L. Now he's going to take a huge L. And this is going to affect his businesses. He may even be dropped as CEO of Tesla. Look, this is going to be bad.
Last week, he said it was to focus on his companies, including Tesla. A group of Tesla shareholders even accused him of being absent amid a crisis as the company's showrooms were targeted by vandalism and its stock price slipped. Which, by the way, let's check in on Tesla stock here. The market just closed. Shares of Tesla closed down over 14%. Trump's Oval Office remarks and Elon's tweet spree, that started around noon today. That was basically the high point, and billions have been wiped from Tesla's value in the meantime.
Look, Elon and I had a great relationship. I don't know if we're well anymore.
They might not even be friends anymore. All right, we literally tried to produce some actual popcorn for this show because it seems like that kind of a day. But let me tell you, it got much worse than what we just walked through right there, because the president, presumably after seeing Musk's tweets, responded this: Elon was wearing thin. I asked him to leave. I took away his EV mandate that forced everyone to buy electric cars that nobody else wanted, that he knew for months that I was going to do, and he just went crazy. The easiest way to save money in our budget, billions and billions of dollars, is to terminate Elon's governmental subsidies and contracts. I was always surprised that Biden didn't do it. If you think that it would have ended there, you would be wrong, and I'm pretty sure none of you thought that it would end there, because here's what Musk said: go ahead, make my day. And for the record, Musk continued to tweet about Trump after this, is probably still tweeting. Jeffrey Epstein has been mentioned, but we have to cut it off somewhere. We're going to talk to our panel in just a moment, but we're going to start with Kristen Holmes at the White House. Kristen, I do think certainly when the Musk-Trump bromance began, there was a lot of speculation about the inevitability of a day like this. It actually lasted quite a while. The two seemed to manage to keep their relationship on track through Musk's tenure. I guess at this point, I have to ask you, is the Tesla that Trump bought still on the White House grounds? It sounds like we're set to perhaps hear from the president later on today. What have you seen so far today at the White House, and what are you expecting to come next?
Well, Casey, there's breaking up, and then there's publicly taking a flamethrower to another person to completely try and destroy their reputation and livelihood, which is what we've seen these two men engage in for the last several hours. You have Donald Trump there saying he's going to take away government contract subsidies to the tune of billions of dollars from Elon Musk, which would be his livelihood. And as you mentioned, Elon Musk is making this a nuclear threat by essentially claiming that Donald Trump is in the, quote, Epstein files. Now, just one thing to make clear here, we don't even believe, or we don't even know that any Epstein files exist. We have no indication that Musk would have access to that. But of course, this is a long-lived conspiracy theory that there are some files out there of clients of Jeffrey Epstein's. Now, we reached out to the White House to get a response to this. Donald Trump is going to sit for a roundtable with the Fraternal Order of Police any moment now, and this is not one that his advisors are going to respond for him. They are going to give him the opportunity. The cameras will be there, and we were told Donald Trump wants to talk about this. Just remember, as you said, Donald Trump didn't respond to Elon Musk's lambasting of his legacy bill for 2 days. It wasn't until he was asked about it today that he really laid into it. And even then, just saying that he was disappointed. Now it gets incredibly personal, saying that it's wearing thin. You see Elon Musk saying that's not true, that's a lie. They're going back and forth, back and forth. Yes, there is somewhat of a juvenile angle to this, but these are also two of the most powerful men in the world who are having this public breakup right now, which you said, of course, at some times people speculated this could happen. Two men with huge egos, big personalities. But the White House advisors thought they got off scot-free. They thought that on Friday he was gone. They had a pleasant meeting. They praised each other, and he was out the door. And a lot of people were happy to see him go. Donald Trump is right about that. He was wearing thin on some of the advisors who said it was time for him to move on. But right now, what you are seeing is a complete escalation in some cases, and also a devolving of this relationship that we watched for the first 4 months. It's really a signature part of the first 4 months or 5 months of Donald Trump's time in office. So right now, we are waiting to see how Donald Trump responds to this incredibly personal attack, obviously trying to make it more personal, trying to spark conspiracy theories around the current president. Elon Musk doing so, taking it to a whole new level here.
A whole new level indeed. Kristen Holmes, I know you'll be standing by for us throughout the hour as we wait for Donald Trump to weigh in on camera on this. Our panel joins us now. Elliot Williams, CNN legal analyst, former federal prosecutor. Kristen Soltis-Anderson, CNN political commentator, Republican pollster. Adrian Elrod, former senior advisor to the Biden-Harris campaign. Matt Mowers, Republican strategist. And Fayez Siddiqui, technology reporter at the Washington Post. And an Elon Musk biographer is also with us. But before we start our conversation I do want to just roll some of that tape to remind all of us what this relationship between Donald Trump and Elon Musk, a relationship that, let's be honest, has impacted the lives of certainly thousands, perhaps millions of Americans through these Doge cuts and other measures, what it looked like before they had this. I mean, this is beyond a breakup. This feels like a really nasty divorce where all the assets are on the table and everybody's fighting over who gets to keep what. This is what it looked like before today. Watch.
Is the only reason we can now send American astronauts into space. Come here. Take over, Elon. Yes, take over.
I'm not just MAGA. I'm dark, gothic MAGA. And we're going to take Doge to Mars.
We love Elon, don't we? Is that guy, he's a character.
The people voted for major government reform, and that's what the people are going to get.
He's an incredible patriot, and I don't even know if he's a Republican. Elon's really not leaving. He's going to be back and forth, I think. I have a feeling.
So that's it, really. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Great job.
So that's not it, because just 60 seconds ago or so, a little bit more, we got this on Truth Social from the President of the United States. He says, quote, "I don't mind Elon turning against me, but he should have done so months ago. This is one of the greatest bills ever presented to Congress. It's a record cut in expenses, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I didn't create this mess. This puts our path of greatness, make America great again." Kristen Soltis Anderson, let me start with you because you asked your team, your polling team, to go back and look at, of these two men, this is like a MAGA showdown for the ages, right? What do Republicans think of each of these men? Who is going to come out on top here?
So before today, Elon Musk was pretty popular with Republicans. In my data, he was up among Republicans. 74% found that he was, they viewed him favorably. Even more when you look at the most MAGA of Republicans. But you know who's more popular with these Republicans than Elon Musk? It's Donald Trump. And so in the battle of billionaire with an interest in policy who's really good at trolling on social media versus billionaire with an interest in policy who's really good at trolling on social media, I suspect Republicans will come down on Trump's side, with one exception. The fact that Musk is sort of attacking him from the right, from the fiscal conservative side. I'll be interested to see how much of that old school Tea Party DNA is still flowing through today's Republican Party.
I'm interested too.
Breaking overnight, there are two major headlines coming from the White House showing you and indicating where the president's focus is right now. Travel ban and Biden. Let's explain. President Trump just signed a new travel ban blocking people from 12 countries in the Middle East, Africa, and the Caribbean from entering the United States, citing what he calls national security threats. A White House official tells CNN the president made the final call here to issue the ban after the anti-Semitic attack in Boulder, Colorado. The suspect, an Egyptian national, has been charged with a federal hate crime and attempted murder. Egypt, though, is not on the banned list this time. Trump announced the new move in an Oval Office video.
The recent terror attack in Boulder, Colorado, has underscored the extreme dangers posed to our country by the entry of foreign nationals who are not properly vetted, as well as those who come here as temporary visitors and overstay their visas. We don't want them.
So this really is a throwback to one of the messiest chapters of Trump's first term. His travel ban then barred entry into the United States from 7 predominantly Muslim countries. And you'll remember it set off a wave of legal challenges. It was put on hold, it was revised, and then eventually repealed under President Biden. TBD on what happens now as he resurrects this policy. And speaking of Biden, he's at the center of that other big headline I mentioned from overnight. Trump has now directed the Justice Department to investigate Biden's actions as president. Trump's latest fixation is attacking his predecessor is Biden's use of an auto pen to sign policy documents, citing Biden's alleged, quote, cognitive decline. The former president has responded to this, calling the accusations and the investigation, quote, ridiculous and false. CNN's Elena Treen is at the White House. Let's get to both. Let's start with the travel ban. What are you learning about this?
Yeah, look, I mean, this is something that we know that President Donald Trump had been thinking about wanting to do for a while, but a White House official tells us, Kate, that essentially that attack in Boulder, the anti-Semitic attack, really sped things up, and that's why you saw him sign that proclamation yesterday evening. Now, the White House has been saying that this is because they believe that having travel from these different countries is a national security threat, but you pointed this out as well. This travel ban that we saw him sign goes way farther than the ban that he signed during his first term. This one has 12 countries in it. A couple include Afghanistan, Myanmar, also known as Burma, Chad, the Republic of Congo, many others, Haiti, Iran, the list goes on, for full restrictions of nationals who can come into the United States from those countries. And then there's another 7 countries, Kate, where they face partial travel restrictions. That includes Cuba, Sierra Leone, Venezuela. Again, the list goes on. Now, we did hear the president in that video that you shared. He also said that other countries could be added to this list if he believes that they are threats to the United States. Take a listen to how he put it.
We cannot have open migration from any country where we cannot safely and reliably vet and screen those who seek to enter the United States. The list is subject to revision based on whether material improvements are made, and likewise, new countries can be added as threats emerge around the world. But we will not allow people to enter our country who wish to do us harm.
Now, Kate, this proclamation includes, I think this is important to know, includes exceptions for lawful permanent residents, existing visa holders, certain visa categories, and individuals whose entry serves U.S. national interest. It goes into effect 12:01 a.m. on June 9th.
Now, let's move to the Biden investigation that the president just directed the Department of Justice to conduct. What is this all about?
Yeah, I mean, this memo that he signed as well yesterday is pretty striking. I mean, look, it comes as the president for weeks now, and I've been hearing this repeatedly in my conversations with White House officials, has been fixated on the former president's use of the auto pen. Essentially, perhaps if he's on a different part of the country, he's out of the country, needs to sign documents, different orders, they can use an automated version of his signature on some of these different orders. And that's been something that has really gotten under the president's skin. And yesterday we saw him direct his Justice Department as well as his White House counsel to open an investigation into this. But it actually goes further than that as well, Kate, in the sense that it asks the Justice Department to investigate if people around Biden were purposefully and knowingly shielding his mental state from the public. So this could be a very messy investigation as we see it unfold over the next couple of weeks.
Absolutely. Elena, thank you very much from the White House for us this morning.
Joining me now in the group chat, Phil Mattingly, CNN anchor and chief domestic correspondent, Michael Warren, senior editor at The Dispatch, and Sabrina Singh, former deputy Pentagon press secretary. All right, first I want to start with you, Phil, because I feel like you have had such a good beat on how the White House has been thinking this time around. This seems like something that Stephen Miller et al. Will make sure is more airtight legally than the first time around.
I think that's been demonstrated by the process they went through to reach to this point, the State Department decision or review that was done in advance, the efforts that were made to try and establish the legal underpinning before they actually made this move. I think it's really important to understand. We all think back on the travel ban in the first term.
Yeah, it was like one of their first things out of the gate.
It was a mess. It was a disaster, and Sean Spicer was trying to explain it, and the airports were a complete chaotic disaster as well. What people don't remember from the first term is they actually ended up getting a version of the travel ban implemented and signed off on by the courts, including the Supreme Court. And that underscored a process that I think has just been so formative to everything they've done in these first 4 or 5 months. They learned. Yeah. They learned, and they understood, okay, we can't do it this way. The court said that's a problem, we're going to fix that.
Which is why we're probably, and then at the same time, that doesn't stop there from being legal problems, but it's a different approach. You guys, let me take it to this side. What are you thinking this time around with this list of countries, for example, or in approach?
Well, I mean, they're saying that this wasn't in response to the attack that happened in Boulder, but yet, it comes just days after that attack in Boulder, and that individual was from Egypt, and Egypt is notably not on that list of
So you don't think
countries
this
that
is
are
sitting in a drawer somewhere? It feels like they've been waiting.
They've been working and waiting on it, and I think to Phil's point, they've really taken their time and been more precise. I think this is going to immediately come to the courts. There's going to be a challenge. Let's see what happens, but it's going to play out in the legal system as well.
So the American Immigration Council weighing in, saying these travel bans do nothing to make us safer or more prosperous. They harm our economy and indiscriminately punish immigrants who otherwise qualify to come. And I raise this because some of these are war-torn areas. It's not exactly like an influx of people coming here, especially given asylum laws. So what does this accomplish?
I don't know, because the justifications so far are kind of a little all over the place. Right, this whole idea of a visa overstay problem, which is clearly a real problem, and you don't have to look to Boulder to see it. I mean, that's.
But is it even from these countries?
Exactly. Well, this is my point. I mean, I think it is a solution that was waiting for an opportunity to be unleashed. That's, I think, what the Trump administration was looking to do with this.
Elon Musk left the government last week.
Run this
He said
back.
it was to focus
Run
on
this
his
back.
companies, including Tesla. A group of Tesla shareholders even accused him of being absent amid a crisis as the company's showrooms were targeted by vandalism and its stock price slipped. Which, by the way, let's check in on Tesla stock here. The market just closed. Shares of Tesla closed down over 14%. Trump's Oval Office remarks and Elon's tweet spree. Yeah, that started around noon today. That was basically the high point, and billions have been wiped from Tesla's value in the meantime.
Look, Elon and I had a great relationship. I don't know if we will anymore.
They might not even be friends anymore. All right, we literally tried to produce some actual popcorn for this show because it seems like that kind of a day. But let me tell you, it got much worse than what we just walked through right there, because the president, presumably after seeing Musk's tweets, responded this: Elon was wearing thin. I asked him to leave. I took away his EV mandate that forced everyone to buy electric cars that nobody else wanted, that he knew for months that I was going to do, and he just went crazy. The easiest way to save money in our budget, billions and billions of dollars, is to terminate Elon's governmental subsidies and contracts. I was always surprised that Biden didn't do it. If you think that would have ended there, you would be wrong, and I'm pretty sure none of you thought that it would end there, because here's what Musk said: go ahead, make my day. And for the record, Musk continued to tweet about Trump after this, is probably still tweeting. Jeffrey Epstein has been mentioned, but we have to cut it off somewhere. We're going to talk to our panel in just a moment, but we're going to start with Kristen Holmes at the White House. Kristen, I do think certainly when the Musk-Trump bromance began, there was a lot of speculation about the inevitability of a day like this. It actually lasted quite a while. The two seemed to manage to keep their relationship on track through Musk's tenure. I guess at this point, I have to ask you, I mean, is the Tesla that Trump bought still on the White House grounds? It sounds like we're set to perhaps hear from the president later on today. What have you seen so far today at the White House, and what are you expecting to come next?
Well, I mean, Casey, there's breaking up, and then there's publicly taking a flamethrower to another person to completely try and destroy their reputation and livelihood, which is what we've seen these two men engage in for the last several hours. You have Donald Trump there saying he's going to take away government contract subsidies to the tune of billions of dollars from Elon Musk, which would be his livelihood. And as you mentioned, Elon Musk is making this a nuclear threat by essentially claiming that Donald Trump is in the, quote, Epstein files. Now, just one thing to make clear here, we don't even believe, or we don't even know that any Epstein files exist. We have no indication that Musk would have access to that. But of course, this is a long-lived conspiracy theory that there are some files out there of clients of Jeffrey Epstein's. Now, we reached out to the White House to get a response to this. Donald Trump is going to sit for a roundtable with the Fraternal Order of Police any moment now, and this is not one that his advisors are going to respond for him. They are going to give him the opportunity. The cameras will be there, and we were told Donald Trump wants to talk about this. Just remember, as you said, Donald Trump didn't respond to Elon Musk's lambasting of his legacy bill for 2 days. It wasn't until he was asked about it today that he really laid into it. And even then, just saying that he was disappointed. Now it gets incredibly personal, saying that it's wearing thin. You see Elon Musk saying that's not true, that's a lie. They're going back and forth, back and forth. Yes, there is somewhat of a juvenile angle to this, but these are also two of the most powerful men in the world who are having this public breakup right now, which you said, of course, at some times people speculated this could happen. Two men with huge egos, big personalities. But the White House advisors thought they got off scot-free. They thought that on Friday he was gone. They had a pleasant meeting. They praised each other, and he was out the door. And a lot of people were happy to see him go. Donald Trump is right about that. He was wearing thin on some of the advisors who said it was time for him to move on. But right now, what you are seeing is a complete escalation in some cases, and also a devolving of this relationship that we watched for the first 4 months. It's really a signature part of the first 4 months or 5 months of Donald Trump's time in office. So right now, we are waiting to see how Donald Trump responds to this incredibly personal attack. Obviously, trying to make it more personal, trying to spark conspiracy theories around the current president. Elon Musk doing so, taking it to a whole new level here.
A whole new level indeed. Kristen Holmes, I know you'll be standing by for us throughout the hour as we wait for Donald Trump to weigh in on camera on this. Our panel joins us now. Elliot Williams, CNN legal analyst, former federal prosecutor. Kristen Soltis-Anderson, CNN political commentator, Republican pollster. Adrian Elrod, former senior advisor to the Biden-Harris campaign. Matt Mowers, Republican strategist. And Fayez Siddiqui, technology reporter at the Washington Post. And an Elon Musk biographer is also with us. But before we start our conversation, I do want to just roll some of that tape to remind all of us what this relationship between Donald Trump and Elon Musk, a relationship that, let's be honest, has impacted the lives of certainly thousands, perhaps millions of Americans through these DOGE cuts and other measures, what it looked like before they had this, this is beyond a breakup. This feels like a really nasty divorce where all the assets are on the table and everybody's fighting over who gets to keep what. This is what it looked like before today. Watch.
Is the only reason we can now send American astronauts into space. Come here. Take over, Elon. Yes, take over.
I'm not just MAGA. I'm dark, gothic MAGA. And we're going to take Doge to Mars.
We love Elon, don't we? Is that guy, he's a character.
The people voted for major government reform, and that's what the people are going to get.
He's an incredible patriot, and I don't even know if he's a Republican. Elon's really not leaving. He's going to be back and forth, I think. I have a feeling.
So that's it, really. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
All right.
Great job.
So that's not it, because just 60 seconds ago or so, a little bit more, we got this on Truth Social from the President of the United States. He says, quote, "I don't mind Elon turning against me, but he should have done so months ago. This is one of the greatest bills ever presented to Congress. It's a record cut in expenses, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I didn't create this mess. This puts our path of greatness, make America great again." Kristen Soltis-Anderson, let me start with you because you asked your team, your polling team, to go back and look at, of these two men, this is like a MAGA showdown for the ages, right? What do Republicans think of each of these men? Who is going to come out on top here?
So before today, Elon Musk was pretty popular with Republicans. In my data, he was up among Republicans. 74% found that he was, they viewed him favorably. Even more when you look at the most MAGA of Republicans. But you know who's more popular with these Republicans than Elon Musk? It's Donald Trump. And so in the battle of billionaire with an interest in policy who's really good at trolling on social media versus billionaire with an interest in policy who's really good at trolling on social media, I suspect Republicans will come down on Trump's side, with one exception. The fact that Musk is sort of attacking him from the right, from the fiscal conservative side. I'll be interested to see how much of that old school Tea Party DNA is still flowing through today's Republican Party.
This is bad, especially, in my opinion, for Elon Musk. He should be focused on Tesla, SpaceX, all his businesses. Rather, he's focused on the bill. Okay, I get it, free speech, but this is going to affect Tesla stocks, and shareholders are not going to take this lightly. Just today, he's gone down 14%. It's only going to keep going down, and that's just 2, maybe 3 truth posts from Trump. Trump controls the stock market for the next 3.5 years. Maybe when Trump leaves the White House, okay, Elon could go rampant. But for now, if Elon keeps going, I am predicting that Tesla will drop Elon Musk from being the CEO of Tesla because this isn't good for shareholders. Business is business. If you are sabotaging the business, you gotta go. That's what's gonna happen to Elon Musk. In my opinion, I may be wrong, but I will place a put option on Tesla. This is my opinion, okay? This is my opinion. Now, this guy, he's saying if it's not for him, Trump would not be the president of the United States. What do you mean? 77 million people voted for Trump. You're not 77 million people. Of course, you gave him campaign money. I get it. But you're not 77 million people. Okay. And he's saying that if it's not for him, Congress, Republicans would not have the House and Senate. What are you talking about? This is bad. This is really bad. I'm telling you, this is bad. Now he's saying that Trump is on Epstein files. He's trying to pander to the Democrat, but this is not going to end well for Elon Musk. This is my opinion, okay? I think he's trying to avoid the substance abuse investigation that the Democrats said they were going to do, but now he's not in the Republican Party. He's not in the Democrat Party. Who's going to take Elon now?
Battle over the big, beautiful bill. President Trump and Elon Musk's war of words reaching a fever pitch today. And today, President Trump was asked about that.
He hasn't said bad about me personally, but I'm sure that'll be next. But I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon a lot. I'll be honest, I think he misses the place. I think he got out there and all of a sudden he wasn't in this beautiful Oval Office and he's got nice offices too. But there's something about this one.
And it didn't take long for Musk to respond, taking to X to say, without me, Trump would have lost the election. Dems would control the House and Republicans would be 50.
And that right there is what will destroy, in my opinion, Elon Musk, because you are not 77 million America, Elon. You're not 77 million people, all right? Of course, you donated $250 million. I get it. But now, well, you know what the Bible says? The Bible says pride comes before the downfall. This will be the rise of Sam Altman. This is my look. I just give predictions. Just like I said last night when we were streaming, I told you Elon is going against Trump. And a lot of people on the chat, conservatives, were like, oh, Elon is only going against the bill. I said, what do you mean Elon is only going against the bill? Going against what I propose is going against me. He's going against the OG. So this is bad. This is bad for Elon, yo.
51-49 in the Senate. Such ingratitude. And that was all it took to get the back and forth going. President Trump threatening Musk's government contracts, writing on Truth Social. The easiest way to save money in our budget, billions and billions of dollars, is to terminate Elon's governmental subsidies and contracts. I was surprised that Biden didn't do it. And in another post, Elon was wearing thin, wrote Trump. I asked him to leave. I took away his EV mandate that forced everyone to buy electric cars that nobody wanted, that he knew for months I was going to do. And he just went crazy. It did not stop there, though. Elon writing, time to drop the really big bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have.
So Trump is on Epstein files, yet you gave his campaign over or close to $250 million. So how do you know Trump is on the Epstein files? Okay, all of a sudden, Trump is on the Epstein files because $7,500 tax credit on EV is going away. All of a sudden, is on the Epstein files. Just imagine, even if 20% or 30% of the 77 million Americans who voted for Trump sells their Tesla stocks. I don't want this to happen, but it's hard to win against the OG, the 45th, now the 47th president of the United States. They tried to end this man's life twice. They tried to send him to jail. You think Elon Musk can take this man down? I don't think so. And Elon is about to find out real bad. This, oh man.
Not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT. Seems a Rubicon that Elon Musk has crossed, that it appears it's hard to see a path forward for these two to repair their relationship. This is not a story that anyone was looking for. Perhaps somewhat predictable with two big personalities. Hey, it's Will Kane.
Oh my goodness, it's getting spicy.
All right, we are getting some reaction to the back and forth with Elon Musk and President Trump. President Trump has now responded to Elon Musk on his Truth Social account, and he posted this. Elon was wearing thin. I asked him to leave. I took away his EV mandate that forced everyone to buy electric cars that nobody else wanted, that he knew for months I was going to do, and he just went crazy. John, there are more coming in after that, but this obviously a clear.
People are saying that Trump and Elon are playing everybody. No, they're not playing everybody. This is real life. This is happening. I told y'all yesterday, this is happening. You said yesterday, Elon is only opposing Trump, big, beautiful bill. No, Elon wants to take the space. As an alpha, you want to be the alpha. You don't want somebody else above you. And that's what he's trying to do. He wants to be the alpha. But where he gets this wrong is Trump isn't trying to be the alpha. He's just the alpha. Okay. He's just who he is. Trump has been like this for what, 40, 50 years? He's always sucked up every energy in the room as long as he's in the room. And Elon wants to be that person. That's why he bought X. That's why he did all of these things. He wants to suck up the energy. He wants that accolades. He wants to be in the media. That's why he wears all these things that he wears. That's why he has cheese on his head during the campaign. He wants the attention. I get it. It's good for business. But once you go against Donald Trump, you will, for sure, lose. Now, you may not like what I'm saying, but I wouldn't be buying any Tesla stock anytime soon, and I'm putting the put option on Tesla. You don't have to do it, but I'm predicting that stock is going in the trash real fast.
Clear response to Elon Musk, who's been tweeting away since the president's words in the Oval Office in the noon hour.
Yeah, more from President Trump on Truth Social, including this. And this really, I mean, this is Lexington and Concord here. The easiest way to save money in our budget, billions and billions of dollars, is to terminate Elon's governmental subsidies and contracts.
There we go.
I was always surprised that Biden didn't do it. One of those contracts is a contract worth about $15 billion between SpaceX and NASA. And, of course, SpaceX sending supplies up to the International Space Station, the whole Starship project. I mean, you ever watch those old Bugs Bunny cartoons?
Yes.
Yeah, where Bugs Bunny said, I guess you know, this means war. Yeah, I think that's where we are right now.
You know, I'm looking, and Elon Musk had been pretty busy tweeting away since the president shared his words about their relationship in the Oval Office. And a lot of it obviously was the insistence that this is too much spending, too much pork. And Elon even chose to post past videos and words of the president, perhaps suggesting that this is a different person than he was before in things that he said before. But this is a back and forth that's getting pretty fierce, John.
You know, a lot of people expected that this relationship was not going to last very long, but I don't think a lot of people thought that it would go up in a fireball that rivals the destruction of the Starship in the atmosphere. And this is probably just the beginning as well. I mean, it's getting ugly.
Yeah.
And
this is the beginning. I'm telling y'all, this is the beginning. It's only going to get dirtier, worse, bad. unthinkable because Elon is very rich and money can buy information. So Elon is going to want to get dirt on Trump for sure. That's what you would do if you have the kind of money Elon has rather. But Trump has been tried, tested for decades, okay? Elon has not. Elon has not been tested for decades. And now they're saying he's allegedly is on drugs. And if anybody can make that happen really fast, I'm saying if anybody can make that accusation come to light really fast, Trump will. And I don't think anybody could fight dirty like Trump. And this is just my opinion. I love this guy. I love both guys, actually. I like Trump. I like Elon. I voted for Trump because I believe in Trump and what he stands for. But Trump will never forget. He will never forgive. And he will fight back like hellfire. I'm sorry to say. This guy will fight back. I don't think Elon can take that kind of weight. Elon has a lot to lose. He has businesses. Trump has lost a lot of times. Elon has lost a lot of time too, but going against Trump and his supporters, because this is going against his supporters as well. Okay? So it is what it is, but this is going to end dirty.
Watching this, the president of the United States and the world's richest man, I don't know if they're on speaking terms, but they're sure on social media posting terms because they are going at each other. Well, I'll leave it for other people to characterize how they're going at each other. I've seen some things online characterizing it, but I expect that this feud, which could rival the Hatfields and McCoys, is going to go on for a while.
We'll keep covering it.
All right. The OG had a conversation in the Oval Office today, which he actually did talk about Elon Musk. So we're going to check that out as well. And then we're going to have a good time, ladies and gentlemen.
Should we do that on camera? Absolutely. Sure.
So to let you know, this is the birth certificate of Donald Trump's grandfather, born in 1869, close to Bad Dürkheim.
Right?
Yeah.
That's called
and
serious.
his Christian name was Friedrich.
Right? That's serious German.
Serious German.
That's serious. Bad Dürkheim is serious German. But I want to thank you very much for, first of all, I want to thank you for that. That's my beautiful. Pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you again.
Fantastic. We'll put it up in a place of honor. Yeah. Maybe we can, let's see, to put it up there someplace. It's an honor to have you. As you know, the Chancellor just won a great election, very, very strong election. Very respected man. I can tell you, we've been on the phone many times talking about some of the problems of the world outside of Germany. And it's very sad what's going on. We both feel that way. What's going on with Russia, Ukraine, and other things we talk about, but Russia, Ukraine in particular. I'd like to see it end, and maybe it'll end, but we get some news there'll be some fighting. Something happened a couple of days ago, and now they do a return, and here it goes. It's not good. He's unhappy about it. I'm unhappy about it. But I think eventually we're going to be successful in stopping the bloodshed. It's pure bloodshed. 5,000-6,000 young soldiers a week are being killed. You know that those numbers
we know the numbers.
They're staggering. They're staggering numbers. But Chancellor, I just want to congratulate you, and I want to welcome you to the Oval Office.
Thank you.
It's an Oval Office that's in very good shape. We like fixing things up and having them tippy-top like they have in Germany.
Yeah.
They do that in Germany very much, and we do it here. We're having a very good run. I also had a great election, great win, won everything. Won the popular vote, all 7 swing states, which is a big deal.
Yeah.
It's pretty unusual to do that. And we have a great mandate from the people, and part of our mandate is we're going to have a great relationship with your country. So I just want to thank you very much for being here, and if you'd like to say a few words.
Absolutely. So, thank you, first of all, Mr. President, for your kind invitation to come to Washington, D.C. I was in this building first time ever in 1982, I told you, when former President Ronald Reagan was in office. So I'm very happy to be here again and to offer our close cooperation with the United States of America. We are having so much in common, our history. We owe the Americans a lot. We will never forget about that. And so with your German provenance, I think this is a very good basis for close cooperation between America and Germany. So again, thank you. Thank you for the hospitality, and thank you for having your guest house for a night. This is a great place. Great place. Many thanks for that. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
It's a wonderful place. It's a landmark also. And Blair House, it's a nice place to stay. But thank you very much for saying that. Would you have any questions, please?
Mr. President, on your new travel ban, why now? And if the Boulder attack was part of your reasoning, why not include Egypt on that list where the suspect is from?
Well, because Egypt has been a country that we deal with very closely. They have things under control. The countries that we have don't have things under control. And why now? I can say that it can't come soon enough, frankly. We want to keep bad people out of our country. The Biden administration allowed some horrendous people, and we're getting them out one by one, and we're not stopping until we get them out. We have thousands of murderers. I even hate to say this in front of the chancellor. Of course, you have a little problem too with some of the people that were allowed into your country. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It shouldn't have happened. I told her it shouldn't have happened what she did, but you have your own difficulty with that, and we do, and we're moving them out, and we're moving them out very strongly. But it can't come fast enough. We want to get them out. We want to get them out now. We don't want to have other bad people coming into our country. By using the word bad, I'm being nice. Okay,
the Democrat says it's a distraction.
You put out on Truth Social a post regarding your conversation with President Xi.
Right.
Can you talk about whether or not you feel that trade talks, trade relations are back on track after appearing to be a little bit off track last week?
A little bit off track. It was only the complexity. It's pretty complex stuff. We had a very good conversation with President Xi a little while ago, just before your arrival. In fact, we just hung up, and they said, "You're here." I said, "That's pretty good." Two great leaders of the world in a very short period of time. We had a very good talk, and we've straightened out any complexity. And it's very complex stuff, and we straightened it out. The agreement was we're going to have Scott and Howard and Jameson will be going and meeting with their top people and continue it forward. But no, I think we have everything. I think we're in very good shape with China and the trade deal. We have a deal with China, as you know, but we were straightening out some of the points having to do mostly with rare earth, magnets, and some other things.
So those reduced trade tariff rates, they remain in effect?
Yeah, we have the deal. I mean, we've had a deal. We announced the deal, and we'll be, I guess you could say, I wouldn't even say finalizing it up, Scott. I would say we have a deal, and we're going to just make sure that everybody understands what the deal is. Okay. We had a really good conversation. By the way, he invited me to China, and I invited him here. We're both accepted. So I'll be going there with the First Lady at a certain point, and he'll be coming here, hopefully, with the First Lady of China.
Go
ahead, please.
Did you talk about the Chinese students? Are you allowing them to come to
the
US?
No, Chinese students are coming. No problem. No problem.
Okay,
it's our honor to have them, frankly. Look, we want to have foreign students, but we want them to be checked. You know, in the case of Harvard and Columbia and others, all we want to do is see their list. There's no problem with that. This is anybody outside of our country, international students. Because when we see some of the people that we've been watching, we say, where do these people come from? How is that possible? No, we want to have foreign students come. We're very honored by it, but we want to see their list. Harvard didn't want to give us the list. They're going to be giving us the list now. I think they're starting to behave, actually, if you want to know the truth.
Okay.
Mr. President.
Yeah, please.
On Russia, are you willing to put more pressure on Putin to end the war by imposing new sanctions on Russia and also on China?
Well, remember, I'm the one that ended Nord Stream 2, going to a place called Germany, come to think of it. I'm sorry I did that. I don't know. But I ended Nord Stream 2. Nobody else did. And then when Biden came in, he immediately approved it. That's the largest, essentially the largest pipeline in the world, going to Germany and other countries. And by the way, we have so much oil and gas, you will not be able to buy it all. I mean, you literally, we have so much, and I hope we're going to make that a part of our trade deal because we have more than anybody else. We have actually the most by far in the world, probably double what anyone else has. So we'll work on that. I'm sure that's something we'll discuss today.
Mr. President,
what do you expect from Germany and what do you expect from the Chancellor?
Well, first of all, I'm glad to meet because I've been dealing with the Chancellor, and he's a very good man to deal with. He's difficult, I would say. Can I say that? It's a positive.
Go ahead.
You wouldn't want me to say you're easy, right?
No.
Yeah, he's a very great representative of Germany. I think all we want is just going to have a good relationship. The rest will just sort of follow very easily. We'll have a good trade deal. I mean, I guess that will be mostly determined by the European Union, but you're a very big part of that, so you'll be involved. But we'll end up hopefully with a trade deal or we'll do something. You know, we'll do the tariffs. I mean, I'm okay with the tariffs, or we make a deal with the trade, and I guess that's what we're discussing now.
Mr. President,
back there, please, go ahead.
Mr. President?
No, not you.
Is Germany doing enough on defense, Mr. President? Is Germany doing enough on defense?
What?
Defense spending.
Is Germany doing enough on defense?
The Chancellor wants to.
Is Germany doing enough?
The Chancellor wants to spend 3.5.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I haven't discussed it very much. I know that you're spending more money on defense now, and quite a bit more money. And that's a positive thing. I'm not sure that General MacArthur would have said it's positive. You know, he wouldn't like it, but I sort of think it's good. You understand what I mean by that?
I understand.
He made a statement: "Never let Germany rearm." And I said, I always think about that when he says, "Sir, we're spending more money on defense." I say, "Oh, is that a good thing or a bad thing?" I think it's a good thing. But, you know, at least to a certain point. There'll be a point when I'll say, "Please don't arm anymore, if you don't mind." We'll be watching him.
Mr. President Biden.
Yeah, Biden? You said Biden?
Your predecessor dismissed your auto pen investigations and made all the decisions during the presidency. I'm curious your reaction to his dismissal.
Well, look, the auto pen, I think, is the big scandal outside of the rigged election of 2020. I think the biggest scandal of the last many years is the auto pen. And who's using it? I happen to think I know, okay, because I'm here. And I'm not a big auto pen person, fortunately. I'm glad. I'm very glad. It's an easy way out. But it's a very bad thing, very dangerous. You know, I sign important documents. Usually when they put documents in front of you, they're important. Even if you're signing ambassadorships, and I consider that important. I think it's inappropriate. You have somebody that's devoting 4 years of their life or more to being an ambassador. I think you really that person deserves to get a real signature, not an auto pen signature. And I can tell auto pen easily. I can look at it. Like two little pinholes from pulling the paper, right? You always see the pinholes. It's real easy to tell about auto pen. I think it's very disrespectful to people when they get an auto pen signature. Outside, auto pen to me are used when thousands of letters come in from young people all over the country and you want to get them back. And, you know, people use auto pens for that, to send a little signature at the bottom of a letter where you have thousands of them. We get thousands of letters a week. And it's not possible to, do. I'd like to do it myself, but you can't do it. To me, that's where auto pens start and stop. But I'm sure that he didn't know many of the things. Look, he was never for open borders. He was never for transgender for everybody. He was never for men playing in women's sports. I mean, he changed. I mean, all of these things that changed so radically. I don't think he had any idea that what was, frankly, I said it during the debate and I say it now, he didn't have much of an idea what was going on.
Mr. President,
he shouldn't be. I mean, essentially, whoever used the auto pen was the president. And that is wrong, it's illegal, it's so bad, and it's so disrespectful to our country.
Mr. President.
Mr. President, will you lead your troops in Germany? And if I may ask a question to the Chancellor to answer in German for the German audience, how has your first encounter been?
The answer is yes. We'll talk about that. But if they'd like to have them there, we have a lot of them, about 45,000. It's a lot of troops. It's a city when you think of it. That's good economic development. They're highly paid troops, and they spend a lot of money in Germany. but the relationship with Germany is very important. Yeah, we'll be doing that. No problem.
May I say a few words in German?
Yes, please.
So, danke für die Frage. Wir sind hier im Weißen Haus und ich bedanke mich beim Präsidenten für den sehr freundlichen Empfang im Oval Office in diesem weltweit bekannten Raum. Ich freue mich sehr, hier zu sein und wir bereiten eine Vertiefung unserer Zusammenarbeit vor. Ich freue mich sehr darüber.
Mr. President,
you speak English because you speak such good English. Is it as good as your German, would you say? Now, do you feel more comfortable?
No, it's not my mother tongue, but I try to understand almost everything and to speak as good as I can.
Very good. You know, it's,
Mr. President, you've made
it's an achievement, actually.
Mr. President,
can I follow up on the iPad?
Thank you, Mr. President. The criticism that I've seen, and I'm sure you've seen, regarding Elon Musk and your big, beautiful bill. What's your reaction to that? Do you think it in any way hurts passage in the Senate, which, of course, what is you're seeking?
Well, look, you know, I've always liked Elon, and it's always very surprised. You saw the words he had for me, the words of, and he hasn't said anything about me that's bad. I'd rather have him criticize me than the bill, because the bill is incredible. It's the biggest cut in the history of our country. We've never cut. It's about 1.6 trillion in cuts. It's the biggest tax cut. You would say, people's taxes will go way down, but it's the biggest tax cut in history. It's we are doing things in that bill that are unbelievable. And when you look at what we're doing for small businesses, for people, for middle-income people, all of the things that we're doing, nobody's ever seen anything like it. And, you know, Elon's upset because we took the EV mandate, and, you know, which was a lot of money for electric vehicles. And, you know, they're having a hard time, the electric vehicles, and they want us to.
And that is why Elon is mad. I'm telling y'all, man, this man is playing with fire. I wouldn't go against Trump. Of course, I mean, nobody on earth has the kind of money Elon has, but he's about to find out.
Pay billions of dollars in subsidy. And, you know, Elon knew this from the beginning. He knew it for a long time ago. That's been in there. That's been, I would say, JD, that hasn't changed. That's been right from the beginning. Mr. Secretary, that hasn't changed at all, right from the beginning. But I know that disturbed him. He wanted, and rightfully, you know, he recommended somebody from, that he, I guess, knew very well. I'm sure he respected him, but to run NASA, and I didn't think it was appropriate. And he happened to be a Democrat, like totally Democrat. And I say, you know, look, we won. We get certain privileges, and one of the privileges, we don't have to appoint a Democrat. NASA is very important. We have great people. General Kane is going to be picking somebody with our. We'll be checking him out, seeing. But he wanted that person, a certain person, and we said no. And, you know, I can understand why he's upset. Remember, he was here for a long time. You saw a man who was very happy when he stood behind the Oval Desk. And even with the black eye, I said, do you want a little makeup? We'll get you a little makeup. But he said, no, I don't think so, which is interesting and very nice. He wants to be who he is, so you could make that statement too, I guess. Look, Elon and I had a great relationship. I don't know if we're well anymore. I was surprised because you were here. Everybody in this room practically was here as we had a wonderful send-off. He said wonderful things about me. You couldn't have nicer. Said the best things. He's worn the hat. Trump was right about everything. And I am right about the great, big, beautiful bill. We call it a great, big, beautiful bill because that's what it is. And again, biggest tax cuts in history, biggest economic development moves anywhere. We've never done anything like it. Business is spurred. And I don't know if you've seen the numbers, but the numbers came out. Even the CBO, which is run by Democrats, said that we're going to be doing, you know, I'd like you to discuss it, the 2.8 trillion, that CBO. This is a group of people that are Democrats. They're very hostile to us. They just came out with phenomenal numbers, what it does. You want to mention that, Scott?
Yes, sir. So what we've seen is we keep hearing from the CBO that there's going to be a large deficit from the bill, which we disagree with, but using the CBO scoring, they came out and scored the tariff revenue. We think it'll be the minimum of $2.8 trillion over the 10-year window, which actually puts the bill in surplus if you include the tariff revenue, which they won't do.
It gives you a tremendous surplus, but we're not allowed to use that. For some reason, they say scoring. Nobody knows what scoring means. Maybe a couple of people, but nobody. Somebody sits in the background, they say, well, we're not going to allow that. They're not allowing other things that we have that are tremendously profitable for our country. But if you saw the other day, CNBC, they came out with numbers, and the people on the show, very good people, I've watched them for a long time, they couldn't believe the numbers, how good they are. The numbers were incredible. And that was personal income and also very low inflation. We have very low inflation. We're down to 2% now, and maybe even lower than that. And when I took it over, it was a mess. Remember, we had the worst inflation probably in the history of our country. They say 48 years, but let's say I think it's worse than that. So we had the worst inflation in the history of our country under the Biden administration. Now we're down to a beautiful number, 2%. You'd actually like to keep it there. Better than zero is 2%. It's going down maybe to 1%, and 1% is like perfect. That's perfect. You don't want to have zero for certain reasons that nobody is very interested to listen to. But we have almost perfect inflation. Grocery prices are down. Everything. Remember eggs? Eggs, we weren't going to buy another egg for the next 20 years. They were so expensive, right? Remember? You guys all hit me about eggs. Eggs have come down 400%. Everybody has eggs now. They're having eggs for breakfast again. But if you look at gasoline, very important. I think always the most important because it's the energy is the biggest factor. That's what happened. He screwed up our energy policy, and everything went up because energy went up. But now energy is way down, and they have states where you're at $1.98 a gallon for gasoline. So the costs have come way down, and one of the things I ran on was that. I ran on the border. We have the best border in the history of our country, 99.99%. It was last week, 3 people came in, 2 of them for medical reasons. We let them in because one of them had a heart attack. I think it was a nice thing to do, and one of them had something else. So we've never I had very good numbers for 4 years, but we really topped it. And I want to thank Christie and Tom Homan. They've done a fantastic job, but nobody mentions that anymore. Remember, a few months ago, the border was a total disaster. People were coming in by the hundreds of thousands of people a day, a week, a month. I mean, we had a month, 2 million people came in 1 month. The border was being overrun, and a lot of bad people, criminals, murderers, drug dealers. We had some of the worst people in the world coming in from all over the world. It's totally closed. And you know what? People are coming into our country, but they're coming in legally. So we've done a great job. Elon knew that. Elon endorsed me very strongly. He actually went up and campaigned for me. I think I would have won. Susie would say I would have won Pennsylvania easily anyway, even if the governor ran, the real governor, not the governor from Minnesota, he's a sick puppy, that guy. That poor guy, I feel sorry for him. But they made a bad choice with him. But if you pick Shapiro or anybody else, I spoke to him recently about his house being set on fire, which was terrible. But if they picked him, I would have won Pennsylvania. I won it by a lot. But I'm very disappointed because Elon knew the inner workings of this bill better than almost anybody sitting here, better than you people. He knew everything about it. He had no problem with it. All of a sudden he had a problem. And he only developed the problem when he found out that we're going to have to cut the EV mandate, because that's billions and billions of dollars. And it really is unfair. We want to have cars of all types. Electric, we want to have electric, but we want to have a gasoline, combustion. We want to have different. We want to have hybrids. We want to have we want to be able to sell everything. And when that was cut, and Congress wanted to cut it, it became a little bit different. And I can understand that. But he knew every aspect of this bill. He knew it better than almost anybody. And he never had a problem until right after he left. And if you saw the statements he made about me, which I'm sure you can get very easily, it's very fresh on tape, he said the most beautiful things about me. And he hasn't said bad about me personally, but I'm sure that'll be next. But I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon a lot.
To that end, Mr. President, I just want to clarify, did he raise any of these concerns with you privately before he raised them publicly? And this is the guy you put in charge of cutting spending. Should people not take him seriously about spending now? Are you saying this is all sour grapes?
No, he worked hard and he did a good job. And I'll be honest, I think he misses the place. I think he got out there and all of a sudden he wasn't in this beautiful Oval Office, and he's got nice offices too, but there's something about this one. I was telling the Chancellor, this is where it is. People come in here, even from Germany. They come in and they walk into the Oval Office, and it's just a special place. It's, you know, World War I, it started and it ended here, and World War II, and so many other things. Everything big comes right from this beautiful space. It's now much more beautiful than it was 6 months ago. A lot of good things are happening in this room. And I'll tell you, he's not the first. People leave my administration and they love us. And then at some point they miss it so badly, and some of them embrace it and some of them actually become hostile. I don't know what it is. It's sort of Trump derangement syndrome, I guess they call it, but we have it with others too. They leave and they wake up in the morning and the glamour's gone, the whole world is different, and they become hostile. I don't know what it is. Someday you'll write a book about it, you'll let us know. Yeah.
Mr. President, speaking of
I'm telling y'all, man, this is bad for, in my opinion, okay, you don't have to believe me. You don't, look, it is what it is. Everybody has the right to think and say what they want to say, okay? Free speech. This is going to end bad for Elon. He may as well just throw in the towel right now. Throw in the towel, because Trump is not the new school fighter. You know, the new school fighter you fight with, you know, you try to take it a little slowly. Trump was born in the 40s. This guy grew up in New York. He was born in Queens. He worked with the harshest, baddest people on earth, okay? So I don't know, man. I don't know if Elon can survive this, but let's see. Let's see. Elon has a lot to lose. And I predict that Sam Altman is about to rise like the phoenix from the ash. Now, will Elon become like broke? Absolutely not. He's going to be rich forever. That's guaranteed, okay? But his companies will suffer because a lot of people are loyal to President Trump. And I mean millions of people who are willing to sell millions of dollars worth of Tesla stocks. People are willing to put a put option on, or place a put option on Tesla. Matter of fact, a lot of people have started doing it because this news is only going to drive the stock market, especially for Tesla, down the drain. And it's worldwide. It's not just the United States. Okay. Trump controls a lot. The thing is, he's not intentionally doing this. Trump is just blessed to have this much influence, even when he wasn't the president of the United States. This man was way more powerful than the president of the United States. Who were flying from all over the world to Mar-a-Lago to kiss the ring. Look, when God blesses you, it's hard to really go against you. He's lost a lot of times. And is everything right? Everything he does, is it right? I don't think so. I have so many things that I don't agree with Trump when he said he wanted to give immunity to all law enforcement officers, regardless of what they do. I don't agree with that because, I mean, anybody can make a mistake, and there are always bad actors when it comes to any sphere of work. So I believe that giving immunity to all law enforcement officers, when truly some people are just flat out bad people. You know, it doesn't matter if you're police or not. Some people are good people, some people are bad people. So I don't support that. But for this one, look, I don't know, man. Elon definitely gonna face some.
Ending wars in this group. You were very critical of Vladimir Putin a couple of days ago. What kind of play is he playing from your perspective? What are his
Well, look, he got hit. He's been doing hitting, so I understand it. But he got hit hard. And I don't think he's playing games. I think I've always said he wanted the whole thing. I thought he wanted the entire, everything having to do with Ukraine. That's something that would have never happened if I were president. The election was rigged. I didn't get to be president, but I got to be president now. And I think it's a much more important presidency. Other than a couple of things like that, the war would have never would have never happened. The war with Ukraine, with Putin, would have never happened, ever, not even a chance. And it didn't happen for 4 years. And it wasn't thought of. I used to talk to him about Ukraine a lot. It was the apple of his eye, but he would have never done what he did. And I think mistakes were made by him, but I think mistakes were made by other people. The president should have never allowed that war. Biden should have never allowed that war to happen. If you had the right guy in here, that war would have never happened. Israel would have never happened with Hamas. That would have never happened. The attack on Israel would have never happened because Iran was broke. They had no money. They had no money to give to Hamas or Hezbollah or anybody else. And all of that would have never happened. Inflation wouldn't have happened. It was caused mostly by energy. And the Biden administration messed up my great energy policy. We were down into the 190 a gallon, and it would have never happened. It was caused by energy and their bad spending on the Green New Scam and other things that they spent on. But all of those things would have never happened. But maybe most importantly, the war, Chancellor, with Russia would never have happened with Ukraine. It was something that would have, I dealt with Putin a lot. There was no chance, zero. And a lot of people say, how do you know? For 4 years it didn't happen. There was never a chance of it happening. And he understood the consequences. Now, it's a shame. And when you see all of those people, they came out with a report today that millions of people have died, much more than people thought. And I've been saying that for a long time. The amount of death in that war is far greater than the news has been reporting, or than, frankly, that either side has been reporting. It's a very sad thing. And I can tell you, just speaking for the Chancellor, because we speak about it, he feels the same way. He wants to see it ended. Would you like to say something?
Absolutely. And I'm here, Mr. President, to talk with you later on how we could contribute to that goal. And we all are looking for measures and for instruments to bring this terrible war to an end. And may I remind you that we are having June 6th tomorrow. This is D-Day anniversary, when the Americans once ended a war in Europe. And I think this is in your hand in specific, in ours.
That was not a pleasant day for you?
No, that was not a pleasant day.
This was not a great day.
In the long run, Mr. President, this was the liberation of my country from Nazi dictatorship.
That's true. That's true.
And we know what we owe you. But this is the reason why I'm saying that America is again in a very strong position to do something on this war and ending this war. So let's talk about what we can do jointly, and we are ready to do what we can. And you know that we gave support to Ukraine, and that we are looking for more pressure on Russia. The European Union did, and we should talk about that.
We will talk about it. And it's good timing. The numbers for our country are through the roof, the economic numbers, because of the election and because of tariffs and other things, a lot of things. But we've had some of the best numbers we've ever had. They were reported yesterday, the day before, and even today. Country's doing really well. I think that one of the things you'll be most interested in is that 6 months ago we were having a hard time getting anybody to join our military. I mean, they just couldn't do it. The numbers were record low. We couldn't get people to join the military. It wasn't me. This was before I got there, the past administration. But 6 months ago, a year ago, the numbers were record low. You couldn't get them to join. That included the police. And you couldn't get them to join. Now, we just hit the highest number in the history of our country, we think, but very close, but the highest in the history of our country, recruitment, joining the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, police forces all over the country.
What did you do for that? What was the reason?
Spirit. They love our country again. You're going to do the same thing. Spirit.
Mr. President,
we have great spirit is back in our country, and it's very simple. It was only, Susie, 6 months ago, right, that you got reports, you're the one that released them, that you couldn't get anybody to join the military, and now we're stopped. Every service now is packed, and we have waiting lists of people trying to get in, as good as we've ever had in the history of our country. So that's an honor. That's a great honor.
Mr. President,
Mr. President, on the war.
You've asked. You've had enough. Go ahead, please.
Mr. President,
You might
so
know.
would you consider to put more sanctions on Russia? Because this discussion is going on now for weeks and months, and you tweeted about it once, but then nothing happens. So
Yeah, when I
what will you do?
see the moment when we're not going to make a deal, when this thing won't stop,
is there a deadline
in that
for you?
moment, yeah, it's in my brain, the deadline. When I see the moment where it's not going to stop, and I'm sure you're going to do the same thing, will be very, very, very tough. And it could be on both countries, to be honest. You know, it takes two to tango. But we're going to be very tough. Whether it's Russia or anybody else, we're going to be very tough. That's a bloodbath that's going on over there. And when I see the moment where I say, well, they're going to just keep fighting. You know, I gave the analogy yesterday when I spoke to President Putin. I had a 2-hour and 15-minute call with him. Sometimes, and this is me speaking maybe in a negative sense, but sometimes you see two young children fighting like crazy. They hate each other and they're fighting in a park. And you try and pull them apart. They don't want to be pulled. Sometimes you're better off letting them fight for a while and then pulling them apart. And I gave that analogy to Putin yesterday. I said, President, maybe you're going to have to keep fighting and suffering a lot because both sides are suffering before you pull them apart, before they're able to be pulled apart. But it's a pretty known analogy.
The OG, the president of the United States just called Russia and Ukraine two little kids. Man, this man is the greatest president the United States has ever seen.
Two kids, they fight. Sometimes you let them fight for a little while. You see it in hockey. You see it in sports. The referees let them go for a couple of seconds. Let them go for a little while before you pull them apart. And maybe, and I said it, and maybe that's a negative because we're saying go, but a lot of bad blood. There's some bad blood between the two. I have to deal with it, and the chancellor has to deal with it. It's incredible. The level of there's a great hatred between those two men, but between the warring parties, great hatred.
What can you say and believe apparently that there's no immediate peace?
What?
That there is no immediate peace. There will no.
Well, I can't. I'd love to have immediate if I could.
But why
if I could, but we don't have immediate. You know, it's like I'd love to have that. I'd like it to start. Right now, we would leave a room if we knew the war could end. We'd say, forget about you guys, forget about trade, right?
Yeah.
We'd say, let's go settle it. There's some additional fighting that's going to go on. You know, he attacked, and they attacked pretty harshly. They went deep into Russia, and he actually told me. I mean, I made it very clear. He said we have no choice but to attack based on that, and it's probably not going to be pretty. I don't like it. I said, don't do it. You shouldn't do it. You should stop it. But again, there's a lot of hatred. And, you know, I'm very proud of the fact that with India and Pakistan, I was able to stop that. And those are nuclear powers. That was getting close to being out of hand. And I spoke to some very talented people on both sides, very good people on both sides. And I said, you know, we're dealing with you on trade, Pakistan and India right now. I said, we're not going to deal with you on trade if you're going to go shooting each other and whipping out nuclear weapons.
How can anybody not like this guy advocating for peace, trying to bring back manufacturing to the United States, securing the border, trying to lower taxes for everybody in the United States, not just the rich? Anybody saying this guy is reducing taxes for the rich is just not educated enough. But okay, I get it. Or maybe not enlightened enough. And as per Elon Musk, I genuinely have the utmost respect for his talent, his genius level for sure. He's done great things. I mean, he campaigned for this man right here. So whatever is going on now, or whatever is making Elon go this route, I don't think it's right. You should just pick up the phone and call your friend. If you say you're friends, why don't you just pick up the phone and call Trump? It's easy. This guy gave you the key to the White House. He gave you the key to the Oval Office. Now, if I give someone that I consider a friend a key to my home where my kids stay. I only request that you treat me the same, with the same respect. If you have any disagreement with me, why don't you just call me? Why would you go on X and say, if it's not for me, you wouldn't be the president of the United States? And somebody is telling me that Elon respects Trump. Elon respects Trump. That's not respect. That's not reciprocal at all. That is not reciprocal at all. Okay? That's not reciprocal. I love Elon Musk. Okay? I respect what he's done, but a friend gave you the key to the Oval Office, and you turn around and go on your platform X and say to the American people that if it's not for you, I mean, I don't care about whatever it says, calling the big beautiful bill the abomination bill or the worst ugly bill. He said those things about the bill, but most importantly, he said that if it's not for him, Trump would not be the president of the United States, or the Republicans would not have the House and Congress and Senate, rather. So that's just foolish to say, because you're not the American people. The American people voted for Trump, and they voted for these senators. Okay, so stop acting like God. This is what I don't like. Anybody who acts like God needs to be gone. By gone, I don't mean like erased from the earth. I just mean like they should not really, in my opinion, be given that much power anymore, because pride comes before the downfall. That's why I don't respect Vladimir Putin, because you say Trump is your friend and you respect him, yet after a 2-hour call with Trump, you turn around and you bombard Ukraine. That's just, what are you thinking? What kind of friend would do that? So look, it is what it is for me. I don't care about all this rhetoric. What I care about is the American people. I believe America is the greatest nation in the world. I love America. I'm privileged to live in America. America gave me my wife. Well, she's late now. May her soul rest in peace. But America gave me my home, which my daughter is here. She's 5 years old. So I will forever love this country, these United States of America. I love this country. And I thank you guys for being here. So with that being said, I got to go take my daughter to gymnastics class. Instead of looking for perfection, seek for consistency. Never give up on yourself. Never give up on your dreams. Never give up on God. Believe in yourself. Believe in your dreams. Believe in Almighty God. All right. America is the greatest nation in the world. Fathers, take care of your kids. You know what time it is. It is your boy Genesis, and I am. No. Before I sign out, I gotta say this. Shout out to the esteemed members. Luke the Goat, God bless you. Shout out to our moderators, Zyros Garden. Who else? Nikki Lee, if she's here. God bless you guys, man. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. All right, it is your boy Genesis, and I gotta sign out. Love you guys. See you soon.